Hey there, Riverica here, reporting for duty on a trigger. Thank you so much for shuffling states of emergency into adoption spirit with me. Oops. And steering clear of danger. Heartily, we are grateful. In this session, we are doing a little Romany spread, Romani, to look at your past, present, and future. And before we get in, some disclaimers. I am not a doctor, lawyer, therapist. I'm a fortune teller. So what I offer is no substitute for those services. Furthermore, what I offer does not determine your future, only your intentions and your actions do. So please, use your gift of discernment before deciding what to gather and take away. And of course, take only what resonates and blow like a kiss the rest back to the universe for cosmic composting into beauty. Heartily, we are grateful. And yes, use your gift of discernment. Don't let me tell you what to do. That would be tyranny. And this reading is for fun and games, shits and giggles, entertainment, flexing our mind, heart, spirit, soul, and intuition. And at the least, I hope to cause harm to none, and at the most, I hope to assist. So thank you for joining us in this session. And we are cutting the deck and laying out these cards. So the top row is the past, and we have death. And whoa, the Ace of Cups and the Queen of Wands and the Six of Pentacles and the King of Swords. Wow, what a start. And 5, 6. And the Five of Swords. And the Four of Cups. Four of Cups. There we are. I think you can see all this. So that's your past. And then we have your present. We have the Hermit. We have the Nine of Pentacles. We have the Ace of Swords. We have the Ten of Swords. We have the King of Cups. That's funny, underneath the King of Swords. And we have the Eight of Wands. And we have the Tower. And I'm going to lay out all these cards before we do the outcome. And then in your future, we have the Eight of Swords. And we have the Fool. And we have the Knight of Wands. And we have Strength. We have the Wheel of Fortune. We have the Ten of Cups. And we have the Two of Pentacles. And on the bottom we have the Page of Wands. So, the past, looking at that past, quite something. So the Death card is more about a change of ways, a transformation, than an actual death. And so many of us have been experiencing transformations, especially over the past couple years, and changing the way we look at life and what makes us feel safe and sound and secure. And that death card is represented by Scorpio, and you can see the butterfly here, and that's more of the transformation that we're talking about with this death card. And we have the Ace of Cups, which is this beautiful new beginning, this fertility, this spirituality. You see the dove there representing that spirituality, and you see the cup is overflowing, and you see the water element there. So all of these things are very relevant. This Ace of Cups is the primordial form of water, the secret compound. You know, water helps make the world go around. What percentage of our body is water? Like 70%. Of course, quadruple check me on that. And this Ace of Cups is about happiness, beauty, productiveness, and pleasure. And so this transformation that you've been making in your past has led you to this state of having your cups full. And then we have the Queen of Wands, and that wand is a fire element. You know, the Queen of Wands, she's the watery part of fire. She's like the fluidity and the color, and is mistress of her domain. She gets things done. And you see she's got the lions there and the sunflower there, representing that more of that fire element, and also her Manipura chakra coming from that center, coming from her center of that strong will and warmth and happiness. And that's a beautiful place to come from. And then we have the Six of Pentacles, and that pentacle is representing the earth element. And the sixth, you know, that's the number of service. And you see this man is in a position of serving these other people. He's giving money to them, and he's got the scales indicating some justice there is being served. And the six is also a number about making choices between light and dark, the difference between light and dark, and the choices made between the two. And so in your past, perhaps you were in a position of giving that service, or perhaps you were in a position of taking that service. So that is interesting. And that Six of Pentacles goes with the moon and Taurus, some more earth energy, and really grounding things in, and using your intuition and the mystic in you to survive or thrive, whichever position you are in. Take it as it resonates. And then we have the King of Swords, and that swords represents the intellect and the air. And the king is the fiery part of air, like wind and storm, and the violent power of motion applied to a manageable element. And so this king has his stuff together. He's able to get things done, even if it seems like the world is turning upside down. And so perhaps that was you, or perhaps that was somebody helping you. And you see he's got butterflies. That's fun. Again, the butterflies showing up. And he's got moons up here representing that intuition and that mysticism. And then we have the Five of Swords, another air element, more of that intellect. And this is representing some sort of loss. Also Venus in Aquarius. And you see he's got two swords. He's trying to grab three more to take it away, to stop the fight. These two people are moving off towards the water. They've got their back to him. And So perhaps that quarrel has been in your past, that fight has been in your past, and perhaps you were the one to stop it and pick up the swords and try to take them away, or perhaps you were these people, you just walked away. That was all you could do. You just had to walk away from it. And then we had the Four of Cups. And you see he's got 3 cups in front of him, and he's got his arms crossed like he's really not interested in that cup. You know, the cups represent that water and that emotion, and this Four of Cups is representative of the moon and Cancer, the sign of Cancer, and perhaps that's how you're feeling with all of this change going on. You still weren't satisfied. There was still more you were looking for. You had these 3 cups and that was all right. You were sitting under your tree. You were feeling grounded, but you weren't quite down for this other piece that was coming to you. You were looking for something else. So let's see about your future. I mean, your present. And we have the Hermit here. And the number 9 is the Hermit. And the Hermit represents, well, Virgo. You see Virgo's there, and the number 9, and the number 9 represents change and harmony. The ending up, it shows that you're ready to end a cycle and start anew. And so that's super exciting, and it validates the past row. And the Hermit is about stepping away from the mainstream. And you see there's some pyramids at the bottom, which indicates this vast knowledge. And the lantern may be evocative of your ancestors helping light the way. And some of that fire element with that wand. And that Hermit is associated with Virgo as well. But perhaps you've decided to take a break, to step away from the mainstream. If you're an orphan or an adoptee, perhaps you've decided to really cut ties with those people who were trying to help you out, whether it was your foster parents, your guardians, your adoptive families, and perhaps you're coming out of the fog, so to speak. That's what we call it in the world of adoptee activism, when the adoptee recognizes, wow, this adoption really wasn't for the best, and it was just different, and I've got to find a new way to find my healthy space because what's happening isn't so equitable or fair or healthy for me. And so perhaps that's where you are. You've walked away. And this 9 of Pentacles is showing that you've been working hard. It's got these grapes, and you know, grapes are challenging to cultivate and take much work and effort. And so that represents all that you've been doing to make your life the way that you want it to work, and it's been paying off. See these 9 Pentacles and how fun we have the 9 and the 9 side by side. Really clarifying that you're at the end of the cycle, ready to start something new. And that 9 of Pentacles, again, that's the earth element. It's Venus and Virgo. And you see the dove symbolizing that peace and that spirituality. Even though you've established some material gain, that you also have this spiritual aspect. And you see she's got her red beret on and her sparkly golden jacket, just feeling herself and owning what she's done. And that's super special. And then we have the Ace of Swords. Again, it's that sword is that intellect energy in the air. And this is like hope crowned with its expectation. Like things are happening. This force, invoked force, is really paying off, and making the decision to step away and start something new. It's really paying off for you. and there's a victory there. And this Ten of Swords that you felt in the past, where you felt like you had all the swords in your back, it's over. And this is Sun and Mercury also associated with this. And that number 10 is representative of building something new, starting over. It is the number of physical matter and can establish heaven on earth. So that's what you've been doing. You've been closing down the old earth and starting up the new earth. And congratulations, you're having some victory. And then we have this King of Cups. And again, that cups is the water energy, the emotions. This King of Cups is the fiery part of water. And like the power of solution, like, you know, when you stay hydrated, how you stay healthy. But if you're not keeping up with drinking your water, you might get dehydrated and get headaches and feel sick. So this is a power of solution. This king is coming with this power of solution to really make sure you're living the way you want to live, gracefully, poetically, enthusiastic. And that's super. And then we have this Eight of Wands, messages coming in, perhaps messages coming in this weekend, this next week, the rest of the month, to help you move where you want to go. And that 8 is the number of illuminating karma, and it's the number of infinity and power. And again, these wands, it's a fire energy and could indicate a swift message coming in. This 8 can be used to erase old and entrenched patterns or syndromes, or break these cycles or relationships that have kept us bound by unhealthy patterns. So that is super, super, super. And then we have the Tower, and this is number 16. And that Tower represents authority and Mars, and this is what you have been stepping away from. Like you've been helping dismantle the old earth, the adoptees and orphans. You've been helping dismantle the adoption fairy tales, and you've been helping establish, rebuild a new earth and everything that goes with that. You see the people coming out of the buildings and the fire and the lightning, and you know the work that you've done to get to where you are. And so congratulations for making it through, and for that hearty work that you have done to dismantle the old and build up the new. Heartily, we are grateful. And then this last row, we have the Is Your Future. And we have the Eight of Swords. There's funny, another 8. And this is moving from a place of feeling like you're a victim and you're trapped. But you see, look, she's got her hands free. She could take off her blind and take off what's binding her and step away from this prison. And so you have put yourself in a position where you are stepping away from that victimhood, like so often. The orphan and the adoptee have been in this place of being a victim. Those of you who are in the adoptee community have been hearing the news of an adoptee who was kept in the basement by her adoptive parents, and she escaped multiple times and made it to the police, and the police chastised her and took her back, and she was a victim. She was legitimately a victim, and so many of us were legitimately a victim. But, you know, in our dreamy dream life, that's not how we want to live. Once we get out of that situation, we don't want to be the victim anymore. We want to take responsibility for that loss and trauma and move forward, take a leap of faith. And so there's this Fool here indicating that you have that courage and you have that spirituality to step away from this old way of life, this victimhood of being trapped in social contracts that were not serving you, they were serving somebody else, and to take a leap of faith and to start anew with a light heart, with a joyous heart. And that's super sweet. you know, perhaps you've got a few faithful friends around you, like, here's this lovely pooch. And so you can rest in that, and your faith is going to carry you through. And then we have this Knight of Wands. That wand, again, is the fire energy. And the Knight is youthful. And he's the airy part of fire. And he's expanding and firing things up. And so you're really getting moving. You're going from this place of being a victim to taking a leap of faith and starting a new life, and it's taken off. It's taken off like wildfire. And here's another 8, that strength coming in, just showing the power that you have, the courage that you have. That 8 is the number of infinity and symbolizing power as well. And you have what it takes to make the adjustments to step into this new life. The wheel of fortune is turning for you. That's super sweet. This is the number 10. Again, that creating heaven on earth and starting something new. And, you know, that wheel of fortune, it can mean that, you know, things are going up or they're going down. But the way that this reading is looking, the way the cards are laying, it's looking like, you know, this is a turn in your favor. And this 10 also boosts the intentions or energy of a new direction, helping you establish this new heaven on earth. And again, that 10 is the number of physical matter. We have the 10 of Cups here, another 10. And, you know, this is rainbows. This is 10 of Cups. Your emotions are filled. You have perfect contentment. You have whatever that looks like to you, whether it's a family with kids or however that happiness looks for you. Everybody's different. How everybody adopts success is different. What you might consider success is different than what I may consider success. But this 10 of Cups is signifying that emotionally you are satisfied. Your dreams are coming true, whatever that looks like for you. And this 2 of Pentacles is indicating how you are going to play with that and find a harmony. That 2 of Pentacles is with Jupiter and Capricorn, and it represents the harmony of change. And Jupiter is that planet of abundance, and Capricorn represents earth energy and really grounding things in the way you want. And so this is symbolizing in this read that you're able to go from whatever, you're able to roll with whatever comes your way, from the light to the dark, from the talkative to the quiet, from the sad to the happy. You're able to go from the yin to the yang. You're able to roll with whatever comes your way. You've mastered this this constant balance, how we have to constantly rebalance ourselves every single day. It's not just like, oh, we get to this place and we get to stay that way. No, every day there's change. And this 2 in the future position is indicating that you're able to soul surf. Whatever comes in, you're able to soul surf it. And so that is super beautiful. And so just a little further of this reading, we're going to read down columns, the downward columns, and this is for the self. And this is for the homes. This is for the hopes and fears. This is for the known factors. This is for the hidden factors. This is for the short-term future. And this is for the long-term future. And so for the self, there's been this big transformation. You have found yourself immersed in adoption spirit magic, as it were. You've walked away. You've had this change from your past self where you're perhaps hanging out with your fosters, your guardians, your adoptives, and then in your present you realize, wow, that's not so healthy for me. What's happening right now, it's more of a prescription for the other people in my life to overcome their loss as opposed to me overcoming my loss. And so I've got to beat my own path. And you were so brave to do that and taking yourself out of that victim position. I'm so happy for you. I'm proud of you. And your home, your surroundings, you created this Ace of Cups, this beautiful, pleasurable, productive, happy space for yourself by owning the adoption reality instead of the fairy tales. How brave of you and how strong of you. And it's allowing you to really have your wishes come true in the physical plane. And that's super sweet. I'm so happy for you. And you're taking that leap of faith to really, really establish this new earth. Thank you so much. Heartily, we are grateful. That is tremendous work. And in this third row is your hopes and fears. So the Queen of Wands, the Ace of Swords, and the Knight of Wands. And so we have this fire energy with the Queen of Wands and the Knight of Wands, and stepping into your power and really expanding upon that and having triumph. You know, there's a hope and a fear. We're like, can you make it happen? And then what if you make it happen? And it can be scary either way. And you're able to face it and step into it and own it and have that victory. And that's super sweet. And then your known factor. You're in this position from having to depend on others to help you survive, to coming out of this position of being stabbed in the back, all the betrayal and lies and heartbreak that go along with being orphaned, from your maternal and paternal birth families to the adoptions or fosters or guardianships that often are more about the people, the parents, than the children being adopted, and coming into this strength where all of that loss and trauma, you've had the courage to face it and heal it instead of sweeping it under the carpet, instead of just continuing the cycle of violence where now you're just adopting one thing after another to try to feel better and feel improved. No, you decided the cycle ends with you, and really stepping into your strength and experiencing your dark nights of the soul, doing the work and coming out stronger for it, and in your own authority and your own person, instead of living for others. You've really found your heart and found your mind and found your spirit and found your soul, and that's super sweet. And the hidden factors, you didn't know how it was going to turn out. You didn't know if you're going to be able to find the strength, that King of Swords strength and that King of Cups strength to do what you needed to do to come out, to dismantle the adoption fairy tales and the orphan fairy tales. You didn't know how it was going to end. You know, people are very attached. All the movies about the orphans, like Orphan Annie, to the adoption movies. And, you know, you look and see how many hits a YouTube video about a beautiful adoption gets as to compare to, you know, the adoptees who are speaking out, how many hits that gets. You didn't know how it was going to turn out, trying to dismantle this old way of life, these adoption fairy tales and myths, and stepping into the reality. And you did it anyways. And you found the strength, you found that intellect that you needed, you found the emotions that you needed, and you did it. You turned the wheel of fortune in your favor. And your short-term future is you ended that quarrel, that Five of Swords, and these new offers are coming in, these new messages are coming in about how to move forward, and it's bringing you this emotional success and fulfillment in the material plane. And that's super sweet. And your long-term future, where you weren't sure if you were going to be satisfied, and dismantling the old way of life, the old authority, you came into this place where you could play with it. You did it, you dismantled it, you're rebuilding, and now you get to play with it, and you're able to soul surf, going from the light to the dark, the happy to the sad. You're much more equipped and able to deal with life as it comes to you each and every day. And that is so sweet. What a position of power that you have placed yourself in. I am so happy for you and proud of you. And that is all I see for you in this Romany Spread reading. Thank you so much for helping me breathe life into adoption spirit magic. Until next time, ciao for now. I love you all.